Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Mindy and I'm a homeschooling mom to 4 kids. Today I'm going to talk to you about my pre-K curriculum hits and misses and about how our pre-K year went for my daughter Emma. Okay, so I want you to know right off the bat that I was very hesitant to even make this video in the first place. A lot of children might not even be ready for formal education. And if you're a very beginning homeschooling parent and you purchase a preschool or a pre-K curriculum, and if your child does not get through that curriculum, or if you cannot get your child to sit down and learn from you, don't think that you're the problem, okay? A lot of kids are not developmentally ready to sit down and do these things. And so I'm going to talk to you specifically about my daughter, Emma, and what worked for her, what didn't work for her, the resources that I did use, and honestly, guys, I've got my work cut out for me. I really need to work with this kid over the summer to get her to a place where I am comfortable enough to start kindergarten with her. So let's jump into it. Okay, another thing I do want to mention is that it is very hard not to compare children. So in this video, I am not going to compare my daughter, Emma, who is 5, my pre-K student, to my older daughter that I have taught to read in the past. Not going to do that. Every kid is unique, every kid is different, every kid has a different personality, and every kid has a unique learning style. Emma is a very movement, hands-on sort of girl. She likes to use her whole entire body. She's adventurous. I purchased the Good and the Beautiful's preschool program for my daughter, Emma. And I really loved this course book and the course itself because it seemed pretty gentle. It was going to be doable for her. Altogether, there are 90 lessons in this book. And so it ends with a course assessment at the end. So this is 89, and then this is 90 here. We are at the end of our school year. We have not made it through this book. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it. But it does tell me that I really need to get moving with her this summer so that I can have her be at a level where I'd like her to be at when we begin kindergarten in September. My child does not like to sit down. So that means for me that I need to get a little more creative. I need to do things where she is involving her whole body. So maybe I'll get like a pack of index cards, write letters, uppercase letters on one, lowercase letters on the other side, throw them on the floor and have her like jump to letter A. Like, tell me the sound for letter A. Jump to letter Z. What letter sound does Z make? Hop 3 times over to letter G. What does letter G say? Things like that. So I really think that that's what I'm going to have to do with her. I did want to show you the units that this was broken up into if you were considering this curriculum here. So this is what Unit 1 looks like. Here's Unit 2, Unit 3, Unit 4. Okay, so Unit 4 is as far as I got with her, but I will show you Unit 5. We are not here yet with Unit 5. We are going to continue working on it though. And then it has Unit 6, Unit 7, and then the course assessment. That's the end of the course. So we made it to Unit 4. That's just how it was. So this focused on letter identification, letter sounds. So it was teaching the uppercase and the lowercase and the sound all at one time. And that can be a lot for a 4 or 5-year-old's brain to process, especially when you're throwing like 4 or 5 letters at them at a time. It is a lot, and it was just too much for her. So I do want to show you another resource that I've been utilizing with my pre-K student that has helped tremendously. So this is MASTERBOOKS Simply K program. Originally I bought this for my older daughter. This did not work out for her because we switched to the Good and the Beautiful, but you can see this is pretty thick. The only resource that I'm using in here for my pre-K student Emma are these little books that I'll show you. So in the back of here, it has these little books that you cut out and you make. And it's just over and over practice. You just read whatever letter it is. And I let her cut them out because it works on fine motor skills. So we have letter F, K, L, G. These were the only ones that I could find lying around our shelves. So it's just repetition. So she'll read me GG goat, GG gift, GG girl, GG game, GG gum, GG gorilla. Obviously, the picture helps them to identify what is in the red. You can have the kids like circle or highlight the uppercase letter one day and then circle or highlight the lowercase letter another day. We read these little tiny books all the time, and I think that this has been a huge thing for her with actually like memorizing the letters. So the Good and the Beautiful's course book for pre-K also came with these practice sheets here, and I have utilized so many of these practice sheets with her just as another reinforcement for whatever the letter is. So for example, it gives you all of the letters, uppercase and lowercase, just a blank letter. And you can do basically whatever you want with them. You can have your kid paint them. You can get the dot markers and dot over them saying L, 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 L. You get the picture. You can use, sorry, my hair keeps going in my face. You can use like fruit snacks or Cheerios and line up, you know, the L, say L every single time, uppercase L, uppercase L, uppercase L, you know. And so they have all of the letters in here. And then they have extra practice sheets. So for example, this one here has the capital letters, the lowercase letters. You are matching them. And then down here, the child is identifying letter sounds, which picture essentially starts with letter F. So flower, frog, igloo, fox, elephant, football. My daughter Emma has a super difficult time with this. One thing that has really worked for letter sounds with her are the Good and the Beautiful's letter movement activities. Like I mentioned earlier, my daughter Emma is a whole body child. She needs to get her entire body involved in order for her to be successful with her learning. And so the Good and the Beautiful on their app and on their YouTube channel, they have letter sound movement activities. So the first video, A says apple, and she eats it. And then B says B says buh. So when I'm asking Emma for letter sounds, if I say, Emma, what does letter B say? She'll be like, I have no idea. And so I will do the movement to whatever the sound is, and then she can actually tell me what the sound is based upon the movement, which is crazy how that works with her brain. So she is a whole body movement learner. So I plan to keep doing the movement letter videos with her to help identify letter sounds over the summertime. Lastly, the preschool course came with these folder activities, and these are super amazing. I really love these games here. It's kind of hard for us to sit down and do them consistently because of my toddler. And honestly, like my toddler wants to climb on the table, get into all the pieces, you know, be a 2-year-old. So that's why we haven't really done these consistently, but these are also a great hands-on tool to use. And I do need to make more of an effort on my part to get her to sit down. So I have to figure out a time when I can actually do these with her because, again, she's 5 years old. Her attention span is maybe 3 minutes long. I need a good solid 3 minutes. And so if she's getting interrupted like every 20 seconds by something, or if her attention is getting distracted, she is not going to have any enjoyment in the activity. She's going to get bored and she is not going to have any success with it. So I'm going to show you what one of these games looks like, or maybe a couple of them. Each one of the folders will work on a set of letters. So you practice the folder activity after you've done that set of letters. So this one, for example, moon match activity. Okay, you line up the lowercase, the uppercase, and then the picture. So V, vase, U, umbrella, W, web, and then you can like mix it up for the student, but this is, they just kind of rotate it. That one's pretty easy. Okay, this one is called Otter Ponds. And so they usually have the directions on the top of the file folder. And so here is what the bottom looks like. So what the student is going to do is take these little otters. There's 8 of them total, and they are E through H. So there's an uppercase and a lowercase. So here's G, but basically the student takes the otter and puts them either on the uppercase side or the lowercase side. And so you can cut this out with like an Expo knife so that they can actually put them down in the water like they're swimming in there. We generally just set them on the top and then we stick them back in the folder. The last one I'm just going to show you is called the Front Doors Activity. Again, they have directions on the top. This one has 2 different games you could play. They're working on X through Z. So again, uppercase and lowercase, so they have these little doors and they have to match them up with where it goes. And also these doors have the same color as the roof. So the roof and the door match. So they're also working on colors. So that one goes there. And then Z for that one, you can see that they match up. So again, just another like hands-on activity for the kids to work on. And like I said, I need to do these a little bit more consistently with her. One thing that absolutely didn't work out for Emma was this book here, Mathematical Reasoning, Beginning Book 2. And this is by the Critical Thinking Company. I got this because I used it with my older daughter and she did really well with it. But like I said, I'm not going to compare the two. Every kid is different and unique. We did start doing this, but she got super bored with it. She later on started not wanting to participate in this. This focuses on a lot of different concepts and skills, but like for instance, this page here, point to each figure and tell me its shape. Like she knows all of her shapes. And so this was boring for her. Even if we were to skip over it, and if I were to go to like a different page, she would just be bored because she's not the type of kid that likes workbook type things. And so this really did not work out for her. There's a lot of different skills and concepts, again, that I said in here, but she doesn't really, I don't know. She can do things like this, but me getting her to sit down and do it, it's like I have to give her some kind of like reason or like a reward to sit down and actually do this. So my biggest thing for her, I guess math-wise, I worked on identifying numbers 1 through 10 and then counting up to at least 25. And so she can identify numbers 1 through 12, and then she can count up to 20 with help. She gets stuck in those teens. She gets stuck at like 13, 14, 15. And so she needs help, but we play hide and seek a lot. We count objects, just like laying out like Cheerios, or we have a game, it's called Count Your Chickens. I'll actually show you what that looks like because it's really great for these preschool, pre-K years. So this is a great game to introduce your child to counting aloud, oral counting, and for them to practice that skill, for them to practice one-to-one correspondence. Here's the game board. It's kind of hard to see everything here, but basically it comes with a spinner and your child, or my child, Emma, spins it and then they land either on an animal or a fox, all these little baby chicks. And so all the baby chicks need to make it up to the chicken coop here. So depending upon what you land on is how many little chicks you put in the chicken coop. So basically it's just a really good oral counting practice game. One thing that I really did want her to start working on was letter writing and writing her name. I guess writing her name was the biggest thing for me. And so in the very beginning of the year, again, my goal was just progression. So I'll show you a picture of what her handwriting looked like at the beginning of the year. I just wrote her name and she copied it underneath. And then we just kind of continued working on that, you know, here and there throughout the year. And then this is what her handwriting looked like at the end of our year. And for the end of us, or for us, that's May. And so I have a couple tools that I utilized with her for handwriting practice. And one of them was this Doodles handwriting from the Good and the Beautiful. So section 1 focused on curves, loops, waves, and spirals. They start out doing things like this, like help the mommy get to her baby, but don't touch these lines here. And then they color the picture. So they're practicing handwriting skills, but it's so fun that it's like they're not even realizing that they're practicing handwriting. And on the Good and the Beautiful's website or their app, they have a video on how to teach proper pencil grip. And honestly, it is so important for them to have proper pencil grip. I also utilized another tool that I found. I actually found this at Five Below. If you guys have any Five Belows near you, they just kind of have things that are like hit and miss. And so honestly, this is a phenomenal resource here. This is by Carson DeLosa, I believe. Yep. And so the way that they are teaching this from the first page to the last page, the way that it goes just makes so much sense. Let me show you the sequence. So they talk about tall straight lines, long straight lines, slants, circles, curves, and then it gives you all of the letters that are tall and straight. It gives you like the circle letters. You can see that she added her own flair here. Curved right ear curves, frownies, curves. And so it has like the beginning, just drawing straight lines. And you always go from green to red. So start, stop, start, stop. It does have letters here. So here we have ladybugs, left to right, L's going over the bottom with L's from left to right. E's were huge for her because that's her name. And then it moves into like diagonals, green to red, green to red. Okay. Let's see here. She really loved this book. We haven't finished this, but we're going to keep working on this in the summer. So yeah, that is something we're going to continue working in this. She is almost done with this book here also. So again, I'm going to continue working with her in the summer on handwriting. Okay, I'm going to talk a little bit about history. This year, I did not have a huge emphasis on history with her. And to me, I don't want to say it wasn't important, but it just wasn't really my huge focus. I read about a couple people from here, superstars of history. When it was President's Day, I pulled this out because I knew there was a section on George Washington. And for my older daughter, around President's Day, we got books about George Washington and Abraham Lincoln. So she sat down with us and was involved in those read-alouds. And also I have this book here, What Your Preschooler Needs to Know. They have a history section in here, as well as art and science. So that is super cool. So for instance, they have a section about Abraham Lincoln. So we read this. She sat down with me for like 3 minutes and listened. And then, so yeah, little bitty, tiny little attention span increments. Martin Luther King Jr. talked about him. And also we did, oh my gosh, what was it? Let me grab it real quick. I can't find it right now, but we did Brighter Day Press's Thanksgiving unit. So there was a lot of picture books that talked about the first Thanksgiving. So we did that as well. For health, we basically did health with my older daughter who was in first grade this year. And so we talked a lot about the human body. So we did a ton of like talking mostly and watching like videos on YouTube, things like that about the human body. I did get this book for her from Usborne, and I do have the older version of this also, but this is a very basic introduction to like your body and how your body works and stuff like that. I realized that I just showed you the wrong book. That book was the science book, and we did do that book also. This is the human body book. They look so similar, don't they? So similar. They have the same little people on both books. Anyway, this is the science book. It introduces a lot of science concepts. We did work on this for science, but then this was the human body book. I realized it wasn't the right book because I was showing you some of the pictures, but everybody's body parts, just a very gentle introduction. So this one's about bones, muscles, the brain, eating and drinking, breathing, pumping blood. This is just like gorgeous. I love the Usborne books. Okay, lastly, I'm going to talk to you about science. I showed you the Usborne book for science, but science was also done with my first grader family style because, guys, I literally cannot teach individually things to 3 different kids at 3 different levels. It would just be way too much, especially having a toddler. So we also did The Good and the Beautifuls, Fields and Flowers. My girls loved the Fields and Flowers. We didn't get through this whole thing. We are going to continue working on it in the summer. But what I really loved about Fields and Flowers was that they had either a story from the Big Book of Stories or they had a video component. I really loved the video components. I wish they would have kept them for the other science programs that they did. They moved to an audio narration instead and like a little hands-on activity. So we're going to be doing those next year. But my girls really enjoyed the course. And so here's the Big Book of Stories. And they just really loved this. Now, this is something she would sit down for a little bit, but once it got into like really scientific stuff, she would jump up and run away. And she was like, okay, I'm done. I've heard enough about the character and what the character is doing. But once you get into like the discussion, for example, metamorphosis, and the life cycle of a butterfly. She's like, okay, I'm gone. Bye. But anyway, we have enjoyed this. Needless to say, I do have my work cut out for me this summer for Emma. And I consider this school year with her a huge win because I know what kind of child she is. I know that she loves to move and she loves to be active. She never wants to sit still. But I look at where she came from all the way back in September to where she came to for May, and I am so pleased with the progress that she's made. If you're doubting yourself with how you did with any of your kids this school year, think about what it was like when you very first started. How did your child progress? What kinds of goals did your child meet that you may have set for your child that school year? Anyway, if you have any questions or comments about pre-K or about any of the resources that I showed today, please let me know down below in the comments, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Bye.